Welcome to the Voter Language Workshop in English. This is the first presentation we have for the Voter Language Workshops. And then starting tomorrow, we'll have the remaining 13 languages for the diverse communities of this county. It's now 6:02, and I want to begin by, uh, you know, telling you more about this webinar. And so this workshop is open to the public. I'll be presenting tonight, also facilitating and also controlling the Zoom application. The presentations are usually bilingual, but because tonight it's presented only in English, obviously tonight won't be bilingual. If there's anyone that has any questions in any one of those other languages, feel free to write me a message here on chat. I can take that along with your email and then provide you the information in the language that you prefer. The workshop is recorded. I started recording already a couple of minutes ago at 6 o'clock. And so here we are now. If anyone does have anything to say, to add, suggestions, questions, and so forth, and to participate, please click on the raise hand button to speak, and I will let you come and speak. Okay, it doesn't look like we're gonna have a big crowd tonight, so I'll have any one of you talk after I present any section of this PowerPoint presentation. Again, type in any messages and questions. Since I am the sole facilitator tonight and presenter, I can check the messages and then I can answer those on the air as we go along. Also, at the very end of the presentation, I will show you a little bit about of our webpage. It's secvote.org. And I just want to show you a few key web pages where you can find more information about voting. Tonight's presenters or presenter, it's me, just me, Paulo Cheng. I'm the Election Division Coordinator for the Precinct Operations Division. Again, as I said, this will be an English voter workshop. Tomorrow, we will have the Nepali version. That one will be both presented in both Nepali and the information repeated in English. Obviously, at the end of the presentation, we'll have the workshop open and anyone that is a Nepali speaker, for example, can talk to us, can engage with us in Nepali, and we'll be translating everything into English. And so basically that means that every one of these voter language workshops are always bilingual. In other words, in whatever language we have for that specific session, but also dubbed into English in real time. And so why are we here today or tonight? Again, thank you all of you for joining us at this time. Tonight, we're here to talk about the November 4th, 2025 statewide special election. And as you are all surprised, it is a special election because it was called, a few months ago. And so what you have to vote on the ballot will be 3 items. County of Santa Clara, Office of the Assessor, which is a partial and expired term. In other words, this will be up for grabs again next year. Again, why are we having this election? Because per the county charter, the county assessor must be elected. So there's no appointment, there's no provision for that. And so this is why this will be one of the 3 items in the ballot for you to vote for. This will be a primary election. In other words, we need a majority winner, 50% plus 1. If there is no majority winner, then we'll have to have a special election on December 30th, 2025. That is 2 days before 2026. And so this will be a historic election because when was the last time you voted 2 days before election? The next item on the ballot will be Proposition 50, which is the California State Congressional Redistricting. That one, obviously, there's been plenty of information. You can find more of that. Also, you can find that on the CVs that you'll be receiving very soon. We'll talk more about that in a few minutes. The next and last measure on the ballot will be Measure A, County Sales Tax. Again, all of this you can find under public domain, in the news, county, the board information, and also, of course, on your county vote information guide, of which, as I said, we'll be talking more about a little bit later on. A few more bits of information about this special election on November 4th. The last day for you or for anyone to register is October 20th, 2025. And that is so that we have enough time to send you the mail ballot and give you information on how to vote, where to vote, and so forth. You can register online at www.secvote.org. www.vote.ca.gov. This is the Secretary of State's webpage. And so what happens is you'll be registering with them, and then they'll send information down to us. Otherwise, you can always register to vote in Santa Clara County here in our office at 1555 Burger Drive in San Jose, or whenever you see a voter education outreach out there in the community that is having, for example, a voter registration drive. Those are great. Get to know your local community, your local organizations, and register to vote if you're not so yet. The last date to request a replacement ballot to be mailed to you is October 28, 25. And by last day, I mean for you to request a ballot to be mailed to your residence that you have under your voter registration information here with us on file. So that will be October 28th. Other than that, you can always come to our office, ask for a ballot replacement, and we'll give you one right away. You can also come to one of the vote centers 10 days prior to election day. What you're seeing here is a screenshot of our webpage. This is www.seccvote.org. This is the webpage that we have. You can find all the information related to voting in the county of Santa Clara right here on this webpage. This contains popular information, popular services, the most frequently asked information, and of course, election vote centers, how to ask for a vote by mail ballot, how to register, how to update information, and where to drop off your vote by mail ballots throughout the county. Also, we have a Get Involved tab. This is where you can go in and learn more about our outreach, learn more about different things that we do here to ensure that voters are registered to vote and ready to vote. We do have then the tab that is called elections. This is the one that if you are trying to find information about this election, this is the tab you want to go and then click on the very first link, which is called November 4th, 2025 Statewide Special Election. This, when you click on that link, it'll take you to the web page where we have all the information about this election, including on election night, the results starting at 8 o'clock election night, November 4th. If you also go down this drop-down menu under the Elections tab, you will find Mythbusters. You will find information about many other things regarding us here in Santa Clara County when it comes to voting. Also for observers, anyone that is interested in voting, there's information on how you can go about and contacting us to come and see us. All right. Next slide. Oh, this is just the arrows pointing out to the link where you want to use to see more information that you want to click. At the bottom here, you can see the second arrow at the bottom on the right side that is pointed to these buttons that come in languages. Okay, so what you'll see is actually 8 buttons, 8 languages that we have here that we support in this county by state law, by county law, and federal law. Okay, and so these are the different languages. So basically, when you click and that arrow is pointing out to the Vietnamese button, if you were to click on that button, then you would basically reload the page under Vietnamese information, or in other words, in the Vietnamese language. Okay, so the information is the same, but that is then provided in these additional languages. Also, if you were to click on the elections drop-down menu and then on the November 2025 statewide election special election link, you would then be brought into this page. This is the one that I told you. This is the web page that contains all the information about the upcoming election, general information, register to vote, vote by mail, and of course, as we get close to election day, this is also where you see the link for election night results and much more. Again, notice the 4 blue buttons. Those are the buttons for the languages. If you would like to see the information in Spanish, then you click on the Spanish button and the page would reload, this time though with all the same information, but in Spanish. And there's the button again pointing to one of the buttons. If you were to scroll down on that same web page, so this is the same web page, let me go back. If this is the top of the page and then you scroll down, you will then see the popular services that we provide. Obviously, we're seeing this in the English version, but again, the view election results, vote by mail, track your vote by mail, conditional or provisional ballot, look up your district, register to vote, find a vote center, see what's on your ballot, and get involved. If you were to click on a different language button at the very top, then information again would be translated and you'll be able to see that in that specific language. All these all this information on our web page, everything that you see here is translated in all those languages. So we go to great lengths to make sure everything is translated to meet all the requirements we have here in Santa Clara County. And so this is a preview. So after I'm done with the presentation, I will actually go into the web page and be able to go back from page to page. Okay, because this one, of course, is a bit static because these are just screenshots. There's the language, and there's the one of the services, election view or viewing of election results. Let me talk a little bit more about the California's Voters' Choice Act. And so this is what's been in place now in this county, the county of Santa Clara, since 2020. In fact, March 2020, the primary presidential election of March 2020 was the first time we introduced the Voters' Choice Act to Santa Clara County. Now there's many more counties that are, in fact, uh, having the elections in the same model, in the same voting model as in Voters' Choice Act. Some of these counties may have a mix, a polling place, and or a version of the Voters' Choice Act, but they all follow the Voters' Choice Act. And so this piece of information actually is probably a year old, a year or 2 years old. So I believe at this moment there's probably a few more counties that have embraced the Voters' Choice Act for their counties. Okay, and so these are usually mandates from the county, the board of supervisors, that then asks that the register of voters then in each county then follows up and implements those plans. And so the California's Voters' Choice Act was established by Senate Bill 450 back in 2016. The California Voters' Choice Act modernizes elections in California by allowing counties to conduct elections under a model which provides greater flexibility and convenience for voters. This election model allows voters to choose how, when, and where to cast their ballot. You can learn more about the California's Voters' Choice Act at www.sos.ca.gov, and that is the Secretary of State's Dr. Weber's webpage. When you go into the SOS webpage, you'll see several tabs at the very top of the menu, and then look for the one that's called Elections so you can find out more about the voting model that we use in this county and how it's prevalent throughout the state of California. One of the things that we do to inform the voters since Voters Choice Act is that in the past we had these mailers, but this is actually one of the original mailers that I took a screenshot and I put it here just to show to you. It's a really good summary of what Voters Choice Act is or how it impacts the voters in this county, how it actually allows voters to have a better, easier way to vote. Okay, so in other words, Voters' Choice Act means that every voter in the county, every eligible voter, is mailed a vote by mail packet. That vote by mail packet includes the ballot cards that you need to vote. It includes a return or paid return blue envelope, and of course a list of vote centers and information about the ballot itself. Okay, so that's what we have here. And so we also provide official drop boxes. These are our own drop boxes that we maintain. You might have seen these in the news. You might have seen these photos. These are usually like white painted boxes with our logo, and they are very clearly marked Registrar of Voters official drop box of VBM Dropbox. So these are the ones you want to use. Besides that, you can also drop off your ballots, of course, in a USPS mailbox. Make sure you do that well in advance. Give at least Postal Services 3-4 days to make sure that they have the time to bring that to us on time for Election Day. Also, you can drop off your VBM packets or your VBM ballots or the blue VBM ballots or envelopes in at any one of our vote centers. This election for this November 4th, we are going to have a total of 38 vote centers, 19 early on, 11 days before, and then 19 or 3 days before election day. So plenty of locations for you to drop this off. Now, if you choose to vote in person, then if you would like to vote in person, in that case, um, you'll be you'll be coming to one of our vote centers, or you can also come to our office here at Burger Drive. I'll give you more the timeline and the hours a little bit later on. Now, voting in person is another benefit of the Voters' Choice Act in that you no longer just have a Tuesday to vote. You no longer have to rush from your job, from being with your family to a location where you have to vote and so forth. You actually have more days to vote. And as you caught my message already earlier on. So you can actually start voting from a vote center 10 days prior to election day, or come to our office at Burger Drive 29 days before election day, and you can actually vote here in person. So if you are planning on taking some time off or you're going to be out of town by election day, then you know that you can always come to our office, vote early, 29 days starting before election day, or you can go to a vote center in your neighborhood, in your area, wherever you are in the county, and vote before you leave on vacation without missing a bit. Okay, so you no longer have to wait for election day, and these are the benefits of the Voters' Choice Act. The other benefit that we have, of course, is the new and more accessible voting equipment. Before, we only had paper ballots. Now we do have the paper ballots, but we can print those anywhere we are in the county. And so it's just easier for anyone to always vote their ballots for their neighborhood where they live. Also, we do have touchscreen voting, which is very popular, very easy, and much faster. And I'll tell you more about this a little bit later on. And of course, we do provide all the bilingual ballots in different languages. And so, whereas before we had paper ballots only, we do now have alternate ways of voting for all voters to decide once they come to a vote center or if they come to our office here at Burger Drive. This is the card that we mail now to all of this county's voters. All right. And so if you are an eligible voter to vote this election, or in fact any election, you will receive a mailer from us reminding you there's an election coming up. We'll give you critical dates, such as when the ballots are mailed to you. We'll give you another date of when you can start voting here at the office. And then we'll give you the dates of when you can start voting in person at a vote center. And we'll give you the date of when is your last day to vote. When is your last day to vote? Election day. But does anyone have to wait until election day to vote? No, because we are now having many more days to vote ahead of election day. So avoid the lines, come and vote. You literally have 2 full weekends to vote in person or here in the office. Okay, or of course you'll be receiving your vote by mail ballots 29 days before election day. You can vote from home very early on. And so when you look at this card, on the left side, there's, for example, side A. On the right side, there's side B. And so side A is the regular information. Also, of course, will contain the voter's information and address. On the back, we have the same information, but in the languages that we must provide in this county. There's also QR code. You can always put your camera, your phone at this and find the link to more information. Let's talk about where you're going to find information, right? Which is the County Vote Information Guide. The County Vote Information Guide, what we call the CVIG, or you hear this very frequently here when we talk about it here in this presentation, and also, of course, written. The CVIG is the booklet that we must, by law, send to every voter that is eligible to vote. So when you go to your mailbox and you see this booklet, please don't assume is spam, don't assume it's just garbage, okay? Just be sure that you pick this up, look through this, and find all the information related to the next upcoming election. So in this case, what you see here is an actual cover of what we'll be using or what you'll be seeing when you check your mailbox starting on October 6th. October 6th, that or the weekend before or right around that time, we'll be sending this out to all the voters. You'll be seeing this booklet in your mailbox. When you see it, uh, keep it, okay? Every person that is a registered voter in your household will get one of these. So if you have one voter, one person will get this. If you have a family of four, three of them are of voting age and registered to vote, then you'll receive three of these. We also have electronic versions. And in fact, we do have a program called Go Green, which is why get a paper county vote information guide when you can get a PDF on your mobile device or wherever you are, whichever device you want to use. I'll talk more about this a little bit later on. Okay. And so in any case, what you see in here, what you see in this booklet will be information about the candidates and the measures on your ballot. This will be the candidate statement as it's provided to us. Please read the voting instruction, learn more about the voting methods, learn how to mark your ballot, and learn about the voting dates. You'll also have here a list of the vote centers, and so you can always decide if you have any questions, if you'd like to drop your VBM ballot at a vote center, look into this document because it'll provide you all the information that you need. Also, in this booklet, you will find phone numbers to contact us. You'll find support information, and of course, uh, anything that you need to know about the election you can find in here. All right, so this is our official information to you so that you have all the tools you need to vote. This version is in English, but we also send this version to voters who specify or let us know that they would also like, or the preferred language, for example, is Chinese, Spanish, Tagalog, Vietnamese. And so if any one of these voters decides and puts down, for example, on their voter registration that the preferred language is Spanish, they will be receiving one of these copies in English plus another one in Spanish. And so this is what we call the County Vote Information Guide. For this election, it'll be in blue. If we do have a runoff in December, it'll be in a different color. Here it is. Go green. Please, please get the electronic version of the Civic electronically. To learn more about that, you can visit our webpage and get information on there. You'll see what we call Go Green. Anytime you see Go Green, it means this is the place where you can come in. This is the web page. This is a piece of information you can find on how to switch or how to request for us to stop sending you the paper version and so that you have access to the PDF version. Okay, and that is a great, great option to have. Now, mail to each eligible voter. So again, as I said, all of you who are eligible to vote this election, you will receive a mail ballot packet in your mailbox. It's not going to be blue, right? This blue envelope is the return envelope. So it'll be a package, it'll be a white package. Inside it, you'll have the paid return envelope blue. You'll have the ballot cards. This time, you'll only have one card to vote for. It's a very simple election. There's only 3 items for you to vote for. Of course, inside you also see a list of the vote by mail drop boxes, our official drop boxes, and you also see the vote center lists inside the packet. Most of all, you're going to get your I voted sticker. Okay, so many of you collect stickers. It's always nice to see people collecting these through the years to show that they come to all these elections. Also, before you even send this back to us, please always sign the blue envelope. As you can see, the front is all blue. There is you see that hole? That hole is for tactile, right? So that voters know and voters see that in fact they have inserted the ballot inside that is going to come back to us. Okay. Now in the back, you do need to sign the envelope. If a voter does not sign the envelope, what happens is that we'll receive this in the office. We'll find out, for example, that John Smith did not sign the envelope, but send it to me. We'll then reach out to John Smith and say, hey, John, we got your ballot. We got your VBM packet, but we cannot do anything unless you sign this document. Okay. And so our vote by mail team will reach out to this voter and ask this voter to please, please, please contact us so we can get you to sign the document so we can count your ballots. So again, very, very important. It's easy, but you do have a few things to do. That is to insert the ballot inside sign it, and then drop it off at a USPS box, at one of our vote by mail boxes, or at a vote center, or even better, drive it over to us if you'd like to do so. Santa Clara County's bilingual ballots. So for bilingual ballots, we have paper, touchscreen, and even audio ballots in all 9 languages, as I mentioned earlier. These are available in the following languages: Chinese, English, Hindi, Japanese, Khmer, Korean, Spanish, Tagalog, and Vietnamese. We also have facsimile paper ballots available in 5 languages. These are in Gujarati, Punjabi, Nepali, Telugu, and Tamil. Every vote center and our offices, we provide bilingual support to all the voters and anyone that comes in and asks for assistance. And so when a voter comes in and they say, oh, you know what, I'd rather conduct my business here with you guys in this specific language, we most likely will have someone to assist us with that language. If not, we'll work very hard to find someone who speaks that language so we can assist this person. And if needed, we'll go on a conference call with a translator and then have the voter on the phone, us on the phone, the translator, and then try to assist this person as much as possible. But bilingual support is available at all vote centers for every single day of voting through election day. How to mark your ballot? Very simple. You get one of the Sharpies we provide or the fast drying inks, one of those over to your booth or when you vote in person at the booth at the vote center. And then all you have to do is fill in that elliptical or the oval space. Okay, fill in that space that's corresponding to the option that you would like to vote for, and you are done. We do use the Sharpies. The Sharpies, those are very fast drying, so that by the time, specifically if you're at a vote center, your ballot will dry very fast, and right away you can bring it to the scanner and have your ballot scanned right away. Also, it dries fast, so it avoids smudges, it avoids, any accidental moving of the ink from one piece of paper to the other. We do have also in every ballot that is a contest running for, we will have a write-in space. If there is someone that is an approved write-in at the last minute, we will be providing a piece of paper that contains the name of the approved write-in candidate. It will be available at the vote center. And so if that candidate is candidate A, then obviously the voter has to write candidate A. If the candidate is candidate A, if the writing candidate, if the approved writing candidate is candidate A, but someone writes down Mickey Mouse, guess what? That person just wasted their ballot. Okay, so you'll not be counted because Mickey Mouse is not an approved writing candidate. Mailing in your vote by mail ballots. So I feel like I've talked about this so much, right? But guess what? We send this to all 1 million voters in this county. Everyone gets one of these. Why not vote from home? Why not drop it off at the vote by mail box? Why not drop it off at a vote center way before election day? Okay, there's no reason for anyone to wait until election day. And so what you want to do though is make sure that you return this to us as soon as you can or as soon as you're ready to vote, but don't wait until last minute. If you do it until the last minute, make sure you're there before 8 p.m. Your voted ballot must be returned to us by 8 p.m., must be dropped into a VBM box by 8 p.m., at a vote center by 8 p.m., at our office at 8 p.m., and the USPS mailbox at 8 p.m. Okay. Obviously, uh, everyone that waits until 8 p.m. will be keeping you company, and so you'll have to battle for parking, get in line, and so forth. So please, why wait until the last minute? You do have time to vote early. Vote early when you can. Also, this ballot is very small, unlike some ballots, like the last major election where you had many things to vote for. This one, you only have 3 items to vote for. So it should be easy for you to decide how you would like to vote and then vote early before election day as best as you can. And yes, if you do drop this off early, that means that we'll be getting them in the office before election day. And so when you see the election night results, the preliminary results or the unofficial results, very likely that those results will include your ballot that you turned in days ago. The yellow comment box there, just telling you that that is what's confirming to you that you do not need to use any stamps or pay for postage. Everything is taken care here in the office. All you have to do is insert your ballot inside, seal the envelope, sign the envelope, and return to us. Again, as I mentioned already, you can drop this off here in our office starting on October 6th, which is 29 days before Election Day. You can also find other places where you can drop off the VBM box throughout the county. You can look into that and at our webpage. Okay, and I actually will show that to you once we're done with the presentation. I'll show you how and where to find the vote center list. But what you see here, this picture is basically a very good representation. In fact, it's one of our vote by mail drop boxes. There's the wedge right up on top. There's a slot, right? It says, do you see the big blue ribbon or banner? That, and then of course there's an arrow pointing up. So it that is the mail slot where you can put in your ballot and goes right through it. You will see, we do have multiple pickups throughout the day. So it could be there that you are there at some point and there's our staff, several of our staff going together and picking up the ballots, emptying the ballots as needed. Of course, the picking up the ballots becomes more regular as we get close to election day. And of course, we service our own VBM boxes. No one else services these boxes or empty these boxes or brings the ballots back to the office except for our own staff. There you go. There's the dropping of the ballot. Okay. Let me see. Oh, my back. One more. Okay. Now, I already mentioned you could drop this off starting 29 days before Election Day on Monday, October 6th. Where is that? So that is our office at 1555 Burger Drive in San Jose, 95112, Building 2, basically off of Old Oaken Road on 101. We do have an outdoor VBM drop box near the flagpole. So as you drive into our building, into our campus, if you want to call that, that main road that you have to drive through, you'll see the flags, the flagpoles, and right next to it, there's going to be an outdoor VBM drop box. You can just drive by. You do have to park your car for a few seconds, get off, drop in the ballot, and you're good to go. Okay. We do also have an indoor vote by mail drop box in the atrium, and that, of course, is available only during business hours because the building is closed after 5 p.m. And so these are some of the options for you to come in and drop off at our office. All the vote by mail boxes, all the vote by mail drop boxes will close or close at 8 p.m. on November 4th. Okay, so what you will see on November 4th at 8 p.m. is our staff ready to seal the boxes and then tell everyone it's 8 p.m., it's night in the evening, election day is over. That's it. No one gets to cast your ballot at this point. Okay, and so that is just as it's always been. And so 8 p.m., the election is over. Now, to vote at the Registrar of Voters, as I said, at 1555 Burger Drive, you can vote here also at our counter. Voting weekdays are the regular hours, 8 to 5. But we will be open two weekends, and that is October 25th and 26th, and then November 1 and 2. You can actually vote here at our office from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on those 2 weekends. Before those 2 weekends, we are closed for the public. All right. And so again, all voters in this county, you'll have basically 2 full weekends, 2 Saturdays, 2 Sundays to vote wherever you are in the county. You can find a vote center, or you can come to our office and then vote in person or drop off your ballot. On election day, of course, our office will also be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Voting at a vote center. You can vote at any vote center. If you live on the north side of the county, but you work in the south side of the county, guess what? You can actually go out for lunch, find a vote center near you 10 days before election day, and you can vote there. Now, we will have 38 vote centers for this election. On Saturday, October 25th, we'll be opening 19 vote centers. These are the 10-day vote centers plus election day. That's a total of election days to vote. And then on Saturday, November 4th, also um, 19 vote centers for you to vote. And so again, that will be 3 days before election day. So that's 3 + 1, total 4 days. And so what you have here are the 38 locations throughout the county where you can vote. How can you find information? You can find it on our webpage, and I will also show you an online tool or online application that we have in which you can type in the address of where you are. Let's say you are at work. You can enter your address at work, and it'll show you what's closest to you within miles of you. And then, of course, lunchtime or whenever you have time the next day, you can go in and vote, cast your ballot. And so these are the days they will be opening the vote centers. Saturday, October 25th, and then November 1, all the way continuously open every day through the weekends, through lunch hours, through break times, all the way through election day. These are the vote center hours. Every vote center that we have starting on October 25th will be open from 9 to 5 p.m. We do have a handful of vote centers that are public libraries, which some of these libraries do have different scheduling. So some of these locations that we have that are the public libraries, these will only be open for voting or accessible to us. So we have it for you to vote. Will only be open, for example, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And so just off by 1 hour. But then again, they'll still be open for those 8 hours and open through lunchtime and break time. So any one of you can come in and vote at your local library, wherever it is that we're able to find those. For phone support, you can always call us. There's two numbers you can actually, there's two numbers you can call, and that would be 408-299-VOTE. And then we do have a toll-free number that's 866-430-VOTE or 866-430-8683. And that is the main line for any voters to call to find more information, for example, about the voter registration, where can they vote, and find anything that you're looking for without having to come to us. Okay, so please keep this number in mind. It's very handy. Call it as needed. Voting at any vote center, what can it do for you? Well, it can give you the bilingual ballots that you need. Let's say that you're, a voter that speaks one of the 9 languages, the different languages that we provide, that we support. Well, you know what? You're doing good in English, but if you'd like to have that specific ballot in a language of preference of yours, then you can ask us for that, and we'll give a ballot in a specific language for you to vote on. Okay. Also, we do have conditional voter registration, for example, for voters who need to register on the same day. So let's say a voter lives in a neighboring county, but they just moved over to Santa Clara County. They didn't get a chance to vote. They can do a conditional voter registration. Obviously, that means because it's conditional, they have to put their ballot into an envelope, and then we'll receive that in the office, and then we'll determine this person's eligibility. Also, at the location, at the vote center, anyone that is already a voter in this county can go in and update the voter registration address. In other words, let's say someone used to live in Palo Alto, but now they live down in Gilroy, and they haven't had a chance or they forgot to update the voter registration address with us. Not a problem at all. They can go to a vote center, update the vote center, fill out what we call the VARF, okay, the voter information update, and then they'll be given a ballot in that specific, for that specific neighborhood where they live. So in other words, they will be voting the new, for their new neighborhood and everything else that they have, that they would like to vote for. Also, what we do have is we have ballot replacement. So anyone voter, if for example, a voter makes a mistake, loses the card, or or needs a new envelope, you can always come into a vote center and get a replacement. Also, of course, as we already mentioned several times, any voter who has got a vote by mail ballot and just wants to vote from home, from the luxury of their house, and then come and drop this off at a vote center, feel free to do that. Okay, so come to our vote centers and drop it off. Vote centers, as I mentioned already, they are open for 2 full weekends. Okay, so please, any one of you in a household, especially if you have young voters with you, please make it a family affair. Bring your family, bring your youth, and have them all vote with you so they get used to voting and they understand how important it is. Okay, so this is a great, great feature to have 2 Saturdays, 2 weekends available for anyone to vote. Okay, now you want to learn more about voting or you want to find the nearest vote center, there's only one online place where you can go, and that is www.scvote.org. And so you want to come to this place and find everything you need to find about elections. And so after the presentation, I'm going to take you in and show you the different web pages. Accessible voting. Voters who are unable to mark a ballot may bring up to 2 individuals to assist them in voting. Also, audio recordings of the County Vote Information Guide are available, so you have to call our office. We also provide curbside voting at the vote centers. In other words, if a voter for any reason cannot exit their car and come in person to the vote center, they just have to let us know and we'll actually bring out all we need to process the voter in their car and then bring the ballot so they can vote. You can also find this information on the County Vote Information Guide that I mentioned earlier. It's got the blue cover and will be sent to every voter that is eligible to vote every election. Staying in the accessible voting theme, I want to bring the attention to you, or bring this to your attention, that we have voting, touchscreen voting here in this county. We've been using the system now since 2020. And every election, we have more and more voters deciding to vote on a touchscreen ballot. It's great experience. It's easier for any voters to use. You can go in, zoom in, make the font type bigger. You can go from page to page. If you also change your mind on how you would like to vote for any specific contest or measure, you can go back, change or select what you selected to deselect it, and then select the new option that you would like. And so there's all the things you can do, and you can do that very fast, very slowly, or however you feel you need to do this. Okay. So anytime, uh, if you haven't voted one of these, I would highly advise you to try this, perhaps this election, since there's not much going on in terms of how many things you have to vote for on the ballot. And you'll see it's a very easy interface. It's a very good experience, and it goes much faster than on a paper ballot. If you make a mistake on your paper ballot, then you have to go back. For example, if you're a vote touchscreen and you ask for a paper ballot at the vote centers and you make a mistake, then you have to go back to the check-in table, and then they have to reissue your paper ballot. However, if you do use a touchscreen machine, then if you do make a mistake and you capture that before you print your ballot, then you can always go back and make the corrections as needed. All right, so it'll be super simple. And again, more voters have been asking for touchscreen voting at the vote centers. If you haven't yet tried this option and you would like to vote in person at the vote center, I highly recommend it. You give it a try. Also, when you look at this picture, right in between the printer and the monitor, you see a little machine there. I'll tell you more about that. That's another accessible way of voting in our county. And by the way, I'm just going back to this one. So what happens here is that when you go and check in at the vote center and you decide that you want to vote on a touchscreen machine, we'll then give you a voter card. You insert that into that yellow slot. The touchscreen ballot comes up. You make your selections. When you're good, when you're happy, when you're ready to go, then you print that ballot and the ballot comes out of that printer, and then you bring it with you to the scanner and you vote. Simple as that. Okay. Now, as already mentioned, you can, the voter will then make their selections. The voter can also resize the font at any point. The voter can review the paper ballot before they print it. Also, we do have a dexterity support selection tool available upon request. That's what we call the SALT. It's this long, flexible tool that we have that a voter can ask for, mold it to their hand so they can have a steadier way to then make their selections. Again, accessible voting is available in Chinese, English, Hindi, Japanese, Khmer, Korean, Spanish, Tagalog, and Vietnamese. Accessible voting is also available via audio. And so this is the tool that I was asking your attention for 2 slides ago. This tool is always present, is always attached to the touchscreen voting machine. And so for the voters who would like to vote in audio ballot, this is the controller that they'll be using. As you can see, this controller has oversized buttons, different shapes, and different colors. That's because voters could be legally blind, or they see just enough of the shapes, just enough of the colors, and of course they have used this type of systems before, and so it's very intuitive and easier for someone who's used it before or is used to using these audio voting or audio aids to use it, in this case, to cast a ballot. So what we have here now is the accessible voting scanner. Okay, so this is the scanner that whether a voter at a vote center, if the voter decides to vote a paper ballot, or if they decide to vote a touchscreen ballot, at the very end, they have to bring that ballot inside the secrecy sleeve and then line it up with the scanner here and then feed one card at a time, upside down, reversed, it doesn't matter, the card will go inside. And then what the scanner does is will then confirm the selections that the voter has made. And then the voter just has to do, then what the voter has to do is basically decide to cast a ballot, the green elliptical button, or return the ballot for verification if you'd like to do so. Okay. Most of the times, of course, voters just go through the cast button because obviously they all the voters really usually already make and go over the selections before they even come to the scanner. But this just is another way for the voters to in fact verify that the machine is reading the selections as they have intended to cast your ballot. Again, so button 1 and 2, number 1, insert or line up the card one at a time up against the scanner slot, and then it will pick up the ballot, scan it in, and then machine will be waiting for you to say, yes, cast my ballot, or let me take another look at it, return the ballot to me. Okay, so this is the extent of the accessible voting that we have at the vote center. So these are the tools available to anyone who comes to us. Curbside voting, touchscreen, paper ballot, audio ballot. We also provide language support and of course, information in several languages. So that is what we do. And this is why we have these voter language workshops to show all of you and to introduce these options to all of you. Obviously, today's presentation is in English, but everything that I just told you will be again presented in the other languages that we have scheduled for the next few weeks. Here, and speaking of next few weeks, so tomorrow we'll have the Nepali presentation on September 24th. After that, we'll have a Tamil, Punjabi, Telugu, Tagalog, Vietnamese, Gujarati, Hindi, Korean, Chinese, Japanese, Spanish, and Khmer. So the last meeting will be on October 16th, a Thursday night. That's again 6 to 7. So let me do this now. So let me stop to share. Let me open up my web page. And I want to share our web page with you to go over some of the features that I was telling you about earlier. So let me find the share. Okay, so there's the screen. So here's the screen. Here's the screen that I've here. Oops. Let's see. Okay, there you go. So there's the screen that you're seeing. And so this is the web page that we have here in our county, obviously. So as I mentioned to you, where can you find the vote center list? Very easy. Go to vote in person. The vote centers are for those voters who would like to vote in person anywhere in the county. So click on the drop-down menu. There's your official vote center locations. Click on that. And there it is. Okay, November 4th. And so the way we have this set up is that we have three options. You can click on the 11-day vote center locations. You only see the 19 11-day sites. So these are all the 11-day sites. What you see, of course, is location name, the location, the facility name, in this case, South Valley Middle School, the address, and then the city. This will be in Gilroy. These are the languages targeted. So these are the languages that we provide election officers in that specific language to support any voters who may come in and ask for assistance in those languages. Okay, and so this is what we have in here. Now, also, of course, this goes down because it's all the 11-day sites. Okay, and so if I scroll down and I click on the 4-day vote center locations, these are just the same thing, but these are the 4-day locations. So in other words, these 11 sites will open on October 25th. An additional 19 will then open on November 1st, which is the Saturday before Election Day. And so these, again, are all the vote centers we have. And then, of course, we have one more click for you. This is the ultimate option where you can see all the different sites for both 11 days and 4 days. And so you can see everything you need to see in here. At the very bottom, we do have a downloadable PDF. And so if you'd like to have a downloadable PDF, by all means, click on here, and then the PDF will open. You can save it to your device, and now you have a copy. So let me go back to the top. And now what I would like to show you, the same thing for the vote by mail drop boxes. These are the vote by mail drop boxes. And so these actually are here set up by, these are set up by city. Okay, and as you can see, Santa Clara County is a pretty big county geographically, right? So we go all the way from Palo Alto down to Gilroy. And so these are all the cities we have in the county. And pretty much in every city, you will find drop boxes that we maintain, that we pick up, that we service. Going to the top now. Let me see. Oh, get involved. So how can you get your friends to join the next voter language workshops? You can go to get involved, click on the get involved, outreach, and then at the bottom of outreach, you'll see the voter language workshops, okay? Click on this link and you will see all the different workshops that we have. These workshops, as I mentioned at the beginning, these workshops are also recorded. So that means that by after a couple of days, once we actually have this recording available from Zoom, we'll upload it onto our YouTube channel, and then our media team will give us the link, and they will copy and paste the link into this schedule here, and then you'll be able to click on that so you can re-watch this presentation as much as you would like. Let me go back to the top. Elections. So this is the one I wanted to show you earlier. So where can you find information about this November 4th election? There you go. So click on the elections. Let me go back to the homepage. This is the homepage. Click on elections, drop down, select November 4th. In the event that we do need a runoff election, then of course you will then see right after November 4th, you will see something, another option on top of November 4th, and there will be the runoff election for December 30th. All right. And so let me click on November 4th. And now this is what you see, the November 4th webpage. Okay, so you'll see basically a summary of all the things related to voting this coming November 4th. The ballot drop-off locations, the vote center locations, the information guides, online voter information, mail ballot track. This is really important for you guys. It's a free service. All you have to do is register, and then the service will update you of where your ballot is, it's been counted, and so forth. Returning vote by mail ballots, emergency ballot delivery program. So there's all these things that we provide here for all of you. Okay. Register to vote and support. You know, the one thing I want to show you, let me go back and then, 5 minutes ago. So I'm going to wrap this up in a second or two. But before I go, let me show you how you can find the nearest vote center to you by typing in the address of wherever you are in the county. Okay, so go to vote in person, click, get on ready to vote. Ready to vote opens, and then you see register to vote, read your county vote information guide, know your options. Under know your options, you can click on nearest vote center locations. Click on this, and there you go. An application where you can enter your address. So let's say you live on 65 6500 Monterey Road, Gilroy. You click on this, okay? Select 5 miles, for example, November 4th election, click on go, and these are the options in that area, okay? Every time we do post the vote centers, we also add this vote center locations list could change frequently, okay? Of course, we don't want the vote centers to change frequently, but sometimes things happen and these locations for some reason close, cancel on us, or there's a reason that we don't have this available to us. Okay, but I don't want to jinx us. Okay, but in any case, you should always look to confirm the vote center that you intend to visit is open and it's available to you. And this is a great tool for you to find out about which vote center is available near you and if in fact still available and it's open for you. Okay. Also, as you can see, it confirms the hours. So this actually, look at this. The Gilroy Library is one of those that I was telling you, a handful of these that will be opening 10 to 6 every day, because most of the sites that we have will be open for early voting. They'll be open from 9 to 5. This one in Gilroy, if you live in the Gilroy area and you would like to vote at the Gilroy Library, that one will only be opening from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So you can always go by after work or during a meal break or late in the morning. Okay. Anyway, so that's it for this site. So let me stop this now. And I see, oh, you know what? Thank you to Anu for joining us and also Ravi for joining us. And so let me, oh, sorry, I just see Anu's message. Were you not seeing my PowerPoint presentation? Oh, yes, you can't see. No, no, I'm not on a webcam. Yeah, I don't, sorry. I actually have the webcam, but you know what? It's not, it's resting on the back of the, for some reason I didn't turn it to me. So you can't see me, no, sorry. Is it even working? Yeah, sorry, you don't see me, okay. Okay, so at least you see the presentation. Phew, now I got nervous there, okay. Yes, so it is a PowerPoint presentation that I will show it to you. I do occasionally show up on the web camera, but not right now. And then also Ravi has a question about what is a facsimile paper ballot. So a facsimile paper ballot is basically a ballot or a copy of a ballot that a voter can use for reference. Okay. So in other words, it contains everything that a voter can vote for. In this case, for example, it would be Nepali. Let's just say it's a Nepali facsimile. And so the voter will see that, and then they can see that they'll see the translation in English, and then they see the whatever language, in this case, let's say, for example, Nepali. And so they can use that as a guide for what's on the ballot. And then, of course, they will get an actual ballot in English or any other language they want to. Okay. And then they'll pick that up and come in and correlate the facsimile options and then go and find that on the paper ballot. And then, of course, make the selections as they want to vote for. So that's what it is. Basically, it's not an official ballot because I cannot count it. It will not go through the scanners, but it's a way for us to provide all the things that you can vote for a specific language for which we don't have an actual uh, ballot yet. Okay. In the future, though, we very likely we're going to have what we have now as a facsimile. We may have those in an actual ballot. Okay, so if right now we provide all the other 9 languages, in the future we could provide a total of 14 languages, including the facsimiles that will become ballots. Okay, so it's a very good question. Thank you for asking that. Okay, all right, so it's 6:59, and I thought I was talking too fast, so somehow I made this. And so let me see if there's any other questions anyone has. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you, Anu. Thank you for confirming that this was instructional. I'm very glad to hear that. And please, before I go, just make sure that if you do have any community, friends, relatives, anyone that is bilingual or doesn't have to be bilingual, anyone that is a voter, okay? Please encourage them to come in, join these meetings. At least they can watch this recorded presentation, which is in English. But if they wish to join any one of the other languages, you now know where to find the information. You know where to find the schedule. Everyone that is interested must pre-register, because when you pre-register, then Zoom will send you a link. Also, will send you a reminder 15 minutes before or an hour before the presentation starts. And so that way, it's easier for someone to not forget to join this important webinar. Okay. So I think that's pretty much all I have to say. So I just want to say thank you to the two of you joining us, Ravi and Anu. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope you join future meetings, but also I hope that this was inspirational so that everyone around you gets the good vibes to vote this November 4th. Okay. So thank you to all of you. And those of you at home that will be watching the recording, thank you for taking the time to learn more about voting in your county of Santa Clara. All right. Thank you, everyone. Good night.